I think I can give a quick like roundup of why I even came across following these three gentlemen, because I think each of them really hits to a specific vertical in my life. Richard, it was crypto. He was, started following Richard 2017. That was when I just got into crypto 2016. So this was the perfect, passive mentor, somebody to follow, somebody to watch, somebody to learn from for crypto in general. And then of course it became, oh wow, okay, he's starting his own token. And this guy's really smart. I wonder if it'll work. We'll see. And that kind of led me into the wealth part of it. Like, wow, I can actually become financially free. This is happening. People are doing it, and this guy has a plan. And that's like opened my eyes to the wealth side of it. And then Naval came after that. Probably started following Naval 2020-ish, somewhere through there. I came across him. I have no idea how I came across him, but I think I was just searching for, self-help stuff or just mindset stuff, things like that. Came across Naval and just started going through all of his content. I saw Joe Rogan is a great podcast. I just basically, like, when I find somebody that I love listening to and I want to consume their content, that's what I do. I find somebody that's really smart that I believe can help me, and I'll go and I'll just find every interview they ever did. I'll go find every clubhouse, every podcast they did, just every stream they appeared on, and I will just watch everything. And just, you'll get a lot of the same stories, but they tell the story differently. You'll get different details. People ask different questions. So I basically started consuming everything Naval, and that was like for probably a year or two. That was just, his book, the Almanac of Naval Ravikant, to this day. It's between that and Scivive. I think for the average person, like Scivive is kind of like mission driven, and it's a fantastic book, but it's sort of, I think all these things, you have to be in the mindset. You have to be ready to consume it, to get anything out of it. But the Almanac of Naval Ravikant, one of my favorite books of all time. I recommend it to anyone, no matter what they're doing, because it really helps you get that shift of what you like figuring out what you want to do. And I think that's the hardest thing for people to do in life, is like what you really want to do. And it changes from time to time, and you may pick the wrong thing, but like being able to get down to what is it that you want to get? How do you define success for yourself? How do you get it? What things are possible? Just opening your mind to all these concepts and ways to do it. Huge thing I got from Naval. And then more recently, Alex Hormozi, probably for the last, I was talking to Jake Sharp, credit him for indirectly introducing me to him, because he mentioned him on stream. I had Jake Sharp for the first time on the show, maybe 5, 6 months ago. And he just passively said, Alex Hormozi says, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, that sounds really good. And he maybe mentioned another time, and he said something. And then after the stream, when I was clipping it up, I thought, man, who's that guy that he was talking about? He said something interesting. I want to look him up. And I just typed in Alex Hormozi and started watching some of his content. And I saw him, after he already blew up. He was already going on every podcast, every interview. Everybody wanted to talk to him. And then from him, it's just about this getting over yourself. Like, he has this amazing story that you alluded to around just being able, he was broke, he thought about suicide. He just was in a really dark place. And then he, found a partner who was just like with him, thick and thin, his wife, Layla. And he just built this business and just acquired these skills. And he's driven, by this, you can go listen to his content. His father, he was always trying to do what his father wanted to do. And then he decided he needed to do what he wanted to do, and nothing's ever good enough. And that really drove him. So even today, this day, even last night, sometimes I'll finish out before I go to bed listening to some part of an Alex Hormozi interview, because I haven't consumed all of his content yet. I'm still going through it, but he's so inspirational and so good to just put you on this track of just understanding how do you get over yourself, how to get past that threshold or that hill, that belief that belief you need to overcome. I love how he talks about how he'll say, somebody will say something. Oh, I believe that marriage is a compromise. This is one thing that he said on the Iced Coffee podcast. And he's like, well, that's a belief though. That's just, one thing that you've said you believe, and that's different for everyone. But that's a belief. So identifying beliefs versus reality and what works for you. And a lot of those things, he's really good at just pushing the message through and getting you motivated to start your own business, do sales. More importantly, creating value. He's, you can cheat and you can scam people, or you can develop a product or a service that you can maximize the value and actually make it a win-win. And you can get rich by not scamming people, but by creating value, which harkens back to Richard and all the products from that too. So that's kind of my introduction to those three. Started with Richard, went to Naval, and now I'm on an Alex Hormozi kick, still trying to consume all the content, but I still go back and forth between them all because those three have been the pillars of shaped the way I think about, what I want to do, life, business, health, wealth, happiness, all that sort of stuff more than anyone else in the last 5 or 6 years.